Hi folks, I wanted to do an update on this Cub Cadet LTX 1050 that I bought a number of months ago. I gave you a first look and then I showed you a little bit with the deck wash system, but it's been a number of months and there have been a number of issues that I've had to deal with, so I'm just giving you a heads up. A few repairs that I've had to do already on it. First of all, the deck, the belt deck, the deck belt, excuse me, broke, so I had to get a new one. That was not easy to replace. It took quite a bit of finagling around, and to take this deck off and put it back on is not as easy as other Cubs I've worked on. So I had to watch a couple YouTube videos to figure out how to do it all, but we got it, and it has worked ever since. Then I was mowing one day, and suddenly the tractor completely died. I had nothing. It was while I was mowing, while the tractor was running. Well, my first thought was, okay, I blew a fuse somehow. So since I did not get a manual with this thing, I couldn't figure out where the fuse was. On my old Cub Cadet 1810 and 1811s, it was right on the dashboard, and it was a little glass cartridge type fuse. But that's not the case with this one. I ended up calling the dealer and he told me where to look for it. And, excuse me, moving around here, I'll show you where it's located. This is where the battery goes. You can see there's a yellow tray that slips down in there, and then the battery goes on top. I have it pulled out to do some other work today, so I can show you this while I'm doing that. But the fuse actually is down in here. You see where I'm shining the light? You can see the yellow on the top of the fuse. It's not a glass fuse anymore, it's a plug type fuse, more modern type fuse. But to get at it, you got to pull the battery and stuff out. So I replaced that, and then that solved the problem. Worked fine for a while. Then I had a problem that the power takeoff wouldn't engage. I would pull the switch there. Let's see if I can flip this down and show you. I pull the PTO switch and nothing. So I called the dealer again and he said, well, it's got to be something electrical. I said, please don't tell me that after 300 hours my PTO clutch is done for, is worn out. He said, well, no, it's possible that it could be, but probably not. But we'll have to figure out which electrical component isn't working. Something that failed. It wasn't the fuse. I checked that again. That was so, and that's the only fuse on the tractor. So I thought, well, did a wire come off? Is it something? See, these newer tractors have all kinds of safety features built, and you can see here with the switch, the ignition switch, that when you turn it on, you're only able to mow going forward. If you want to mow going backwards, you have to hit that little orange triangle and have that little red light go on there and put the ignition switch in the yellow position, the middle position there. But there still is the factor of the seat sensor. This also works that if you take pressure off the seat, that the power takeoff will turn off, and also the tractor's supposed to turn off too. That's to protect somebody should you tip over, that you're not going to have some running tractor with flying blades come rolling over top of you. And that's a good feature, I suppose. But here's the issue with that. I was not going to fool around pulling this whole electrical system apart on this. I had too much trouble screwing around with the old Cubs with that, so I decided I'm just going to bypass it. One of the things the dealer said is the first thing you can check is if your electric PTO clutch is still good or not. That's the first thing to check, because that would be the biggest, most expensive thing to replace. So he said basically what you do is you run a wire from the battery to the hot line on the PTO switch, which is let's see, it's one of these down in here. I'm not sure exactly where it is right now, but you can see that. So what I did was I ran the thing ran the wire, and as soon as I touched it to the hot line on the, not the ground, the one that would bring electricity in, to the line for the power takeoff clutch, I heard it click. So it went to engage. So I knew that that was still working properly. It's just something up in here and all the safety junk prevented electricity from getting to it and having it run. So instead of messing with that, I bypassed all that. I ran, excuse me, I ran a wire directly from the battery to another switch that I put in here, and then out from the switch directly to the hot line going in to the PTO clutch. And then the other line, it's only 2 wires, the other one's the ground. I just ran a wire off of that line and tied it to a bolt on the frame, so that grounded it. And my PTO has been working perfectly ever since. Turn the switch on, runs, turn the switch off, it turns off. Now the only problem is, and I'm not recommending anybody else do this, I'm just saying I did it for my ability here, is there's no safety feature with turning off the mower deck then. You know, the blades will spin as long as the tractor is running and the switch is on. If you know, there should be another problem, they wouldn't be protected. Now, since I'm the only one using this and there are no children using this, and I don't mow on steep hills, I'm not worried about turning over, rolling over. I'm not worried about any other issues with the PTO or the mower deck being dangerous. So it basically, for me, it worked. It's just you turn the thing on and it goes, you turn it off and it stops. So that solved that problem. Then we're up to where we are today. I started having a problem that it wouldn't want to start. I would turn the ignition key and I'd hear one click from the solenoid. Well, I tested the battery. The battery was still showing 100%, so I knew it wasn't the battery. So I am up to replacing the starter today. I got this 3-terminal solenoid starter just at Tractor Supply. It's the same, it's a universal one. It should fit this tractor as well. As you can see, it's got 2 contacts, I think a third there maybe for a ground, I'm not sure, and a couple bracketing options to mount it to the frame. So it's a universal. I wasn't going to pay Cub Cadet prices for one if I could get by with just a regular 12-volt one. Now this is located, I'll show you this if I can get at it here. Again, they don't always make this easy. This is located right there on the back of the frame. Well, right in here. So I'm going to have to get at it from coming in from this side to disconnect it from the frame. You can see there are just 2 bolts holding it in place. So pull that out, disconnect the wires, and then put the new one in. And hopefully that'll solve my problem with any kind of starting issues. So I'll come back to you when I have it pulled apart. You can see it and how I connected the new one, and then we'll see if this solves the problem. I'm frustrated that I've had this many problems already with this Cub. It's only got 300 hours on it. It's a 2013, I think. But hey, when it's running, it's mowing well. A 50-inch deck I can get done pretty easily. It's 22 horsepower Kohler, so it handles even high grass, and it's doing the job for me when it's working right. The problem is all this cheap electrical stuff on here. The engine's fine, the mower deck is basically fine, and it steers okay, and the tires are good, and the brakes work and stuff. It's just the cheap electrical harness that they put on this thing. So we'll see what happens, but that's my project for today, so I'll come back to you. Well, I got thrown a monkey wrench in this repair here with this solenoid. As it turned out, the one that I showed you in the previous video doesn't fit this tractor, even though it said it was universal, even though on a couple of the websites it showed that this was for this tractor. But what I found when I looked at this solenoid in here is that it didn't have the 3 bolts like the other one had. It actually has two, and then it's got these two prongs here, if you can see through the plastic there. I had to take the other one back and get this one. So hopefully this will work. This is an MTD Troy-built solenoid. It says fits lawn and garden tractors, and it looks similar to the other one. Now, of course, they cheaped out because they didn't include any nuts with this. You can see there the bolts stick up, but there are no nuts in there, but I can make do with the bolts that are on the old solenoid, I think. So it delayed my repair on this for another day, but now that I've got this, we'll try to put it on and see if that solves my problem finally. Okay, I'll come back to you and we'll see the result. Well, okay, here we go. New solenoid's in place, everything's tight. Perfect. So apparently that was my problem, just the solenoid was worn out. And here's the old one. I can't tell by looking at it to see what the problem may have been. Maybe it's something on the inside, I can't tell. Maybe something isn't loosened up, who knows. And I don't really care because I have another one on. Now, for this tractor, if you have to change your solenoid, what you need, this is a Cub Cadet LTX 1050 with the 22 horsepower Kohler. You do not want what I got the first time that was supposed to be a universal solenoid with the three screw lugs. You know, it had two here and then it had one on the bottom. What you want is the two lug solenoid with the two blades. See these two blades here? There are two plastic wire connectors that slip onto them underneath there. One I think one was yellow and one was green. I'm not sure, but and also the other thing that you need to just be careful of. Now it sits, as you're looking at the back of the tractor, it sits like this. So your nuts are, your little bolts are through here screwed into the frame, okay? And then everything is kind of upside down. The way I did it, just to be safe, is I took one wire off of the old one, put it right on the spot where it needed to go in the new one, and just kept working my way around that way. Then I was sure I didn't make any mistakes. It's not that there were that many wires. The other thing too, though, that you do have to be, at least the way this tractor was wired, on this side, the bolt coming through here also had two grounds attached to it that go to the frame. They were little loops with wires into the wire connector loops, and it went through this bolt. So you got to make sure you get that the way it's supposed to go too. So problem solved. Hopefully I'll get another however many hours out before I have any more problems, but I'm back in business mowing. All right, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel.